Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about Terra Mystica in a little bit. I'm going to ask my kids what they thought of the game and give a little description of how it's played, and then afterwards I'll give my thoughts on the game and kind of talk a little bit about some of the more academic things that one might glean from playing the game. So stay tuned. Hello, Egan and Quinn. We are here today talking about Terra Mystica. Can you guys, you want to get the box? Yeah. Do you guys want to explain quickly how the game is played?
Yeah.
You don't have to get into extreme details about it. But.
So, you're in the game. You're trying to get the most points. You get points by getting high on the cult tracks, which are these, making big cities. Yeah, making big clusters of buildings. Also, making cities, which is like 4 buildings that are big enough, gives you these tiles, which also give you points. You can also get points from various other things depending on the round, and also your race, like mine here. Whenever I build a city, I get 5 bonus points.
Not always you get points.
You don't.
For my power is I went and I placed next to somebody. That person usually gets 1 power, and if they take that power, I can go up on a cult track. If they don't, I can take 1 power.
Yeah, so you're talking about the cultists, which is the race that you're playing, and their special power is dependent on other people using a special action or taking a special action in the game, and then you get something in return. Yep. And every race, there's 12 of them, have unique powers. So the game's very asymmetrical. I don't know if you guys know what that means.
You get special abilities from strongholds.
Strongholds, yeah. Strongholds give you unlock a second special ability for each race.
Yes. And so to get so what you do on your turn, you can take 1 action on your turn. These actions can be, you can build a structure. Structures, you can see underneath them what they'll give you at the start of the round.
Stop. I have something.
What?
Can I quickly explain?
Where
is it?
Also, you can pass and pick a new one of these and get to go first if you were the first one to pass. You can terraform a land, because you can only build on certain lands.
Okay.
Like green guys can only build on forests. Brown guys can only build in hills. Or as I like to call them, farms, because this does look like a farm.
Quinn would like me to show this card, which break down the 8 actions that you can take on your turn. Basically, it's you can build a structure, you can take a special action using power, or you can upgrade a building, or, I don't know, am I forgetting it? You can dig or terraform land.
You can put priests on the cult track.
Yep, you could put a priest and move up the cult track. The unique thing about the game is that you have to terraform the land before you can build a structure on it.
And the power.
Yeah.
Yeah, so every race has its own homeland. In order to build, they need to change the land to their homeland land. Yep, go ahead.
Different colors all have the same thing. Like the other side of Egan's is forest still.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a really complicated, well, I shouldn't say it's a really complicated game. Actually, the game is pretty easy, I think. But the complication comes in explaining the rules, because there's actually a lot of rules to explain, but once they are explained, I think it's super simple, don't you guys?
Yeah, it's really fast too.
Yeah, and it's hard.
You know how to play.
It's hard to give everyone an idea of how the game's played, but in general, like Egan and Quinn are explaining, you try to get as many structures out, and getting them out give you points, and there's various other things that give you points, and your races can give you powers and different ways to get points, and I guess there's a lot of different things going on in the game, but it all makes sense once you learn it, and it's all pretty easy. What do you guys think of Terra Mystica?
I like it. It's fast.
It is kind of fast. You think it would be kind of long, but it can go pretty fast, especially if you know what you want to do on your turn.
In the game. And most players only take like 3 turns. There's only 6 rounds in the game.
Yeah. So, what would you grade it, Gwen? I know you're a tough grader. Out of 10.
While he's thinking, I'd say I like this one 6 or 7.
7.
That's pretty high for Gwen. I know the last week or so, since we've gotten the game, like pretty much every day you've asked to play it. And that's a good sign. I enjoy it quite a bit too, and I'll talk about that in a little bit.
Legendary's a 9.5.
For one thing,
Legendary is
you've
your
won
favorite.
every time you've played.
Yeah, I've won every time we played. But you guys are still kind of learning the game, and we're going to, when I give my review, I'm going to talk a little bit about that.
One thing I like about this game is the score changes fast. Like this game that we just got done with, you can see the end result. I was winning for the first, I'd say 4/4 of the game, but then Dad pulled ahead in the last 2 rounds.
4/4 will be at the end of the game. So 3/4.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Thank you for correcting.
All
And
right.
now I end up last. Just because of 3 pieces of coins that Quinn had.
Yeah, you got 1 point for your coins at the end. That puts you ahead. So it was pretty tight. Most of our games have been pretty tight. They've been close, even though, like you said, I have won.
Except for that one game when I was the Swarmlings, and
once Egan was 1 behind me. I was 2 behind Dad.
What are Swarmlings anyway? There's a bunch of races in here that you guys were like, I don't know what those are.
Orin
Swarmlings.
It made you want to go out and check them out, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have, I know you guys kind of started making some games after playing this. Were any of the games you were making kind of based on this game?
No, I didn't
Did
make
it give
that
you-
games after.
I made
this.
one,
Just
but
adding
it's
pieces of
served.
other ones that we
But I made one, but it's not. I didn't get. Well, I don't think on my ranking it was free.
Well, I know some of the games you've made recently are based on some of the races in this game. I know you had Swarmlings in one of your games.
No, I was going to.
Swamplings. Okay, my bad.
I was going to make a Swarmlings as a race in one of my games. It's called Monster Economy, where you're building up an economy of monsters. But I couldn't find anything useful on the Google, so I decided not to make them.
Okay. Well, anything else you'd like to add before we are done about Terra Mystica?
Our favorite guys?
Your favorite guys? Yeah, give me your favorite and least favorites.
I have 2 favorites.
Okay.
These guys?
The Nomads?
Yep. And the Chaos Magicians.
Chaos Magicians.
I like the witches
Right here.
and the dwarves.
Yeah.
Dwarves right here.
Have you guys read?
My least favorite would be these guys.
Darklings?
Yeah, I don't like that they only have 1 book.
I think I'm going to. I'm not going to say my least favorite. Right now, it's Swarmlings, but that could just be because the R2 guys I've played are really good. I'm gonna wait until I've played everybody.
Good idea.
Because most of the times I've played dwarves. Witches twice, dwarves twice, and Swarmlings once.
I know.
I've played Nomads twice, Chaos Magicians once, and Cultists once.
I know you guys like reading rule books to some of these fantasy games. Have you
I
read the
read-
rule book to this one
No,
yet?
I only like the ones and I only like the Dungeon Lords and
Dungeon Pit?
yeah.
The funny ones like that? Yeah. You might like
Smash
the...
Up. I read,
some of the
I
stuff
read
in
the
this one.
Smash Up rules all the time. I did read the back of the rules here.
Yeah,
It
me
tells
too.
all the bases.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that will be it for us. Thanks for giving us your review and thoughts, guys. All right. Let me give my thoughts on the game now. Let me say I really, really like this game. Like my kids, Egan and Quinn both gave it 7s, I believe, or Egan gave it a 6. Pretty high rating for them. And I like it too. I really like the asymmetrical play, how every character, every race that you play plays differently. They have different powers. You're not going to play it the same way every time. And it's brilliantly planned out that way. And not all the races, you could argue, are equally, and some of them you're going to want to use more often than others. Maybe it's kind of nice for me as a parent, where, like they had mentioned, I've won every game, so now I'm trying out some of the races that aren't thought of as being quite as powerful, just kind of as a handicap. So that's nice in that way. Some of the more academic things I see gleaned from playing this game for my kids, the logic reasoning. Like I said, every race is played differently. So you kind of got to make a plan. Say you're using the halflings who get points for using shovels. You'll want to probably get that shovel mechanism going as efficiently and quickly as possible. So you want to go up on your shovel track so that using shovels is cheaper for you, and therefore you can do it more often and get more points. So there's a very logical efficiency planning out that you have to do, kind of similar to coding, where you're trying to code as efficiently as possible so that you use your computer as efficiently as possible. So there's great logic reasoning involved in this game, and I know my kids have had problems in the past doing that. And that kind of leads into another thing, is there's times in the game where you might have this great plan to do, if you're the halflings, to get lots of points by using shovels, but then something throws you off and you have to or maybe not quickly, but you got to come up with a new plan or use something else to do what you were planning to do in a different manner. And I know my kids in the past have had problems with that in games. So it's good for them to practice that kind of, and they have the problems in real life too, Hey, Dad, can I have a banana today? Well, we're out of bananas. Oh, it's the end of the world. What are we going to do? There's no bananas. And they can't comprehend maybe eating something else. So it's the same way in games. I really wanted to use or to build the bridge, and only one person can build a bridge per round, and somebody already used it. Oh no, what am I going to do? I can't build the bridge. So it's good for them to learn how to cope with a change in plans. So not everything necessarily when playing games is a direct corollary to reading or math or geology or whatever, your more academic subjects. Sometimes are helpful for real life circumstances. So in this case, coping with a change in plans, with change in general, this game helps with that. And I've noticed that their other game playing has gotten a little bit better when they're able to practice games that make you have to change your plans like that. So that's why one thing from this game I noticed is nice. There is some math involved in the game, not a lot, but if maybe your kid's not quite able or ready to play this game, and he can play or she can play on your team, and then have them help you with the math. So there's just like little things like subtracting single-digit numbers or adding single-digit numbers that they could, get some use out of. There's not much reading unless they like to read rule books, which my kids do. They haven't yet, but there's some reading in that. And there's also, there's a ton of different races, and it's kind of fun if they ask you what's the fakirs. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Go Google it. Go find out, and that can lead to a whole bunch of different learning about that race and maybe cultures that influenced the creation of that race. It's endless, the possibilities there. So to sum it up, love this game. There's some good academic uses for it. I highly recommend it, and thank you for joining us.